All right, so I'll let y'all do the introductions and start. I'm going to switch to the computer and get on. And thank you all for being here and being patient.
Rev?
Okay, what did he, give me?
You want me to read these?
Yes, we're getting ready to start. We have quorum now.
Yes, we did.
Okay, do we need to issue the disclaimers and the governance of the meeting?
Yeah, I'll do these for you.
Thank you.
Sure. Good evening, everyone. My name is Angel Muscane. I'm the district manager for Community Board 11 and the staff liaison to the Youth and Education Committee. Sharing a few ground rules before we get started. No one may speak until granted the floor. CB11 members, if you have a question about board business or wish to make a motion, please raise your hand through Zoom. If you click on the participants icon, the participants panel should appear and you should find the raise hand function there. If you still have technical difficulty, you may click on the chat icon and relay your difficulty to the staff. The chat function should not be used for CB11 business or questions about agenda topics. All such remarks should be made on the record by raising your hand through Zoom. The chat should only be used to alert us of any technical difficulties you are having or to state in writing information, like an email address, that was already stated aloud on the record during the meeting. Please keep your questions and comments succinct and germane to the discussion. Members of the public, if you have a question or comment about the subjects on the agenda, please raise your hand through Zoom and wait to be recognized. And with that, I hand the meeting over to Committee Vice Chair, Reverend Yolanda Brown.
Thank you so much, Angel. And I'd like to call this meeting to order. The time now is 6:50 p.m., March 15th, 2022. And if we could proceed with the roll call, please.
Certainly. Committee members, when I call your name, please answer present. Leroy Andino. Yolanda Brown.
Present.
Angela Donadell. David Giordano.
Hello, I'm here, sorry.
Thank you, Angela.
I'm
David
here.
Giordano. Gotcha. Thank you both. John Green. Robert Harvey. Jada Adelia. Pat Martin.
Present.
Savasia Robinson Teague. Natasha Rodriguez.
Present.
Isaac Scott. Russell Schuler.
Present.
Jason Wu is excused. You have quorum.
All right, thank you very much. Welcome everyone to the March meeting. And we'd like to ask, is there any reason why, anyone has any reason why we should not adopt the committee agenda? Okay, so we're going to move on to the adoption of the committee's minutes. Are there any objections to adopting the committee's minutes? Okay, thank you. And I'd like to move forward with the announcements. The next meeting, the Youth and Education meeting will be April the 12th, 2022. And are there any other announcements that we'd like to make at this time to share with the community?
Oh, sorry, I should have raised my hand. I'm gonna be sending the link to the scholarship Angela was talking about in the chat.
Okay,
So.
thank you. Angel?
All right, thank you, Rev. Just wanted to share with committee members and with attendees that the suspension of the open meetings law is due to expire tomorrow. So it is our anticipation, until we hear otherwise from Governor Hochul, that public bodies will again be required to hold their meetings in person. So we are in the process now of figuring out how we'll be doing meetings for the month of April. Things are still fluid as we're still figuring out how we're going to make that happen and if we're going to need to make that happen. But I did want to give everyone a heads up so that it isn't a surprise when the calendar is out with physical meeting locations. I will, of course, update the board and the community via the newsletter and our website board members directly via email once we have that news more concretely known to us.
Okay, great. Thank you so much. And so we'll move now to, are there any other announcements? Great. We're going to move now to the informational updates, and I'd like to, from the Department of Education. Okay, we'll move to the next.
I'm here. I'm sorry. Sorry, Yolanda. I'm here. I didn't know if you wanted me to talk now or.
Great. Good seeing you.
Good seeing you too. Happy Tuesday, everyone.
Yes.
I just have a few, many of you've probably heard about Chancellor Banks' Bold Vision, which is focuses on 4 pillars. The first one is reimagine the student experience. The second pillar is scale, sustain, and restore what works. The third pillar is prioritize wellness and link it to success. And the fourth pillar is engaging families as true partners. As many of you know, there's a lot of enrollment deadlines. The deadline to apply to pre-K is March 18th. The deadline for 3K is the 14th. Middle school already passed, as well as high school applications passed on March 11th. The sibling priority has been expanded for schools where basically for the middle schools and at schools where the final year is 8th grade, and also at schools that continue through 12th grade. If you already applied and you think you have a child applying to the middle school and you think they're now eligible for a sibling priority, you actually have until today. I'll put the link in there in the chat box, but if you think you're eligible for this sibling priority, you can email siblings@schools.nyc.gov. And I'll put that in the box shortly. Our COVID cases have gone down significantly. I know as of this week in the community D4 East Harlem, we've had about 3 cases this week. Starting last week, March 7th, we have a face covering update where, and just to clarify, in 3K and pre-K and our life classrooms, the indoor mask mandate is still alive. Children under the age of 5 are not eligible. So teachers, staff, anyone in those 3K and pre-K classrooms must still wear mask inside. And also if someone is returning from having COVID-19 symptoms or after a positive COVID-19 diagnosis, if they return on day 6, they must wear a KN95 mask. Also in the medical rooms, mask wearing is still required in all medical rooms, nurses' office, and school-based health centers. As a city for March, it might have gone up this week, but last week it was 89%. In District 4, we were above the city average by 0.3. We have a lot of district events and initiatives, and I'll put some of those resources in the chat. Right now in the 007 building, we have D79 adult education ESL classes. Those are Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. We have a great turnout. Starting this Saturday, we have free D79 adult GED classes at the Mosaic campus. And that will be every Saturday, and there is childcare provided for school-aged children. And another initiative that we have, and we have it this Thursday, and I'll put links in there as soon as I stop speaking, about the East Harlem Basics. And that's for our birth through grade 12. We have Rena from Harvard talking about just how we can support, how we can strengthen the relationships between caregivers and their children. Yesterday, we had a D4 student advisory, and thank you, David, for joining us, and a lot of our Community Education Council members were there to really hear from the voices from our young people. We had an elementary session and we had a secondary grades 6 through 12. Some of the, I guess, broad brush key takeaways. One of the questions was, what was your favorite moment? For many of our students, it was seeing their friends again, being with their teachers, the adults. They love project-based learning. They talked a lot about their projects. They love the arts. They love sports. A lot of students want a pool and swimming opportunities, which I'll get to the summer experience. For what has been the challenging, some students talked about how COVID has been very challenging. Another challenging moment for a lot of our youth has just been around, just learning, and when they've had challenges in learning, and just, getting back into the routines of being in school. We also had News Ella, and I don't know if everyone's here. News Ella is an instructional resource, but it's available in 20% of it is available in Spanish, and it's for ELA, math, science, and CR, culturally responsive sustaining education. And we got some feedback about that, which is actually applicable to a lot of resources. Across the board, students said they wanted to have more visuals. They wanted to have more they wanted more things to be available in Spanish. They also expressed some concerns about the type of translation in Spanish, because we know that there are geographically and different types of Spanish translation. The students also talked about their concerns about testing, that they're really, some of the students were like, we really dislike having test prep in our schools. Another student was just like, since he actually named it, he was a middle schooler. He was like, since the 3rd grade, I get nervous about, am I going to pass? And so we, assured, and we take a holistic approach, and really it shouldn't be based on one test score. If you're working hard and completing your assignments and going to school, that should be more important than one single test. So those were some of the, David, am I forgetting anything from the advisory? Those were some of the, I loved hearing from the voices of our young people. And D4, we have a senior, Jamila, who's on there. And she actually said that was one of her favorite moments of the school year, was joining the Community Education Council and networking with adults. So it just showed and validated the need for mentorships. A lot of our students also talked about how can they have more internships and get paid. Like David said, they want to get out of the classroom. They want field trips. They want to get outside, and they're tired of being
have fun, right?
They want to have fun. That's what they said. They want to have fun.
And they, I think like they didn't want to just do fun things. Through their learning, they wanted to have fun, through project-based learning, through STEM projects as well. But what I found was really nice, the different schools that were involved. Some were individual kids, some were a group of kids that we met with, and they all had their own unique way of expressing what was important to them in these different series of questions. And they were a talkative group. It wasn't like we had to get it out of them. Once they got started, they were communicating. I'm sorry I missed the elementary one because I was caught up, but middle school and teens are my heart in the work that we do, because they're often sometimes forgotten. So we have also Dr. Hernandez here. That's I share the building with, and he shares with me in our programming. And we do a lot of work with leadership as well with kids and bringing them together. And we're going to have something special. So we're going to try to send some of our kids away to I think it's California, for the Keystone Conference. And actually, Natasha, our president for the Keystone Club, even though it's been a little shaky, is going to lead us and hopefully get us out of this city with a group of kids during the summer in July. But I would just say it was really great to hear from them. And this is what I said at the beginning of the meeting. We need to provide more forums for youth to be able to express themselves, where we're the listeners as opposed to the talkers. And I'm a talker. And even Dr. Christie, when we got on, we all said, this is for the kids to speak. We have the prompts to ask the questions, and they were amazing. And what it really shows is that you give kids an opportunity to always be surprised at what they give you in return. So I didn't mean to talk as much either, so I'll pass it back to you, Dr. Christie, sorry.
I don't know at the time, I know we have, Dr. Tony Hernandez from Lexington Academy here. And I want to be mindful of the time. I will put some of the resources that I mentioned in the chat box. Please feel free to share. And also it is important to note that our GED class and our ESL course, is open. And, you do not necessarily have to live in East Harlem to engage in those things. We have, families that live everywhere. And as long as we have space available, we want to make sure that we open it up to the community. So I just want to name that. And then another important thing to remember is D79. That's the adult education, the courses that we're having. The adults do not have to be vaccinated. Because they are considered students, and students in the D75 program do not have to be vaccinated. And so I just want to let people know, because I know that sometimes that can, make a difference with who is applying and who is not. Are there any?
I was just saying, summarizing, right, Dr. Christie, we're back for another year.
Summer Rising is back. We still are waiting to have our recommendations and our sites finalized. There was a press release, but I don't like to give, there's still a lot of things that we need to get finalized. And once we have more information, we will definitely share that. Our goal is for it to be a authentic enrichment experience. Something that does bring joy, rejuvenates while learning, right? Like, we want our young people to feel ready and prepared for September. We don't want to kill joy, so, it's like, how do we find a balance of giving the academic supports, the social emotional supports? And when talking about authentic learning, and it came up yesterday, we learn by doing, creating, moving, right? So how do we provide a variety of opportunities to meet the needs and interests of our young people? So really, really excited. We are going to partner once we have the finalized list of our community-based partners and our school sites. We will definitely do what we did last year, which is come together, have shared goals, visions. As a superintendent, I do visit all the sites at least twice throughout the summer, because there's, like anything else, there's a difference between reading about it and getting an email and seeing our schools and our Summer Rising programs in person.
We'll make sure we send you the date for the Lexington Academy CALA, Children's Aid Lexington Academy celebration in the summer, where we have a wonderful fair for kids and games and activities for them to play. So Dr. Christie was out there dancing out there with the kids and the electric slide. And
I do love, you're going to embarrass me, David. Yes, I do like to dance. I'm not the best dancer. I like to dance and sing and have fun. And yes, I do. I love all genres of music. Yeah, I like all genres of music. I just love to have fun and be in community. So thank you. And thanks for everyone for being here. And again, I'll put my email, my number, and feel free to reach out if you are interested in any of, if there's something that you would like to have additional information on.
Thank you, Dr. Christie. Yolanda, I'll let you continue. It's hard for me to let go sometimes.
Okay, I was going to defer to you. Thank you so much for being in your rightful place. And thank you so much for sharing, Dr. De La Cruz. So we have anyone from CEC?
Yes. Hi, it's Member Williams, Gina from CEC 5. I'm out in transit, so right now, so might be some backlash noise. Some of the announcements are almost the same, the DOE announcements from the Department of Education about Summer Rising. We just had a FACE meeting this morning at 11, so that information, when the actual start comes out, will be posted by the end of the week in an email to us. But we are having our monthly meeting on Wednesday, the 23rd at 6:30. And we will be revisiting the budget again with the actual information from school construction, how some of those monies are being spent. And Dr. Baez is having a workshop tomorrow, actually, at 6:30. And that is going to be a fun-filled, healthy workshop because it's about rebuilding staff relationships. And I think that that is very appropriate, seeing that there were some disturbances within the districts during COVID. Also, they're going to be talking about the 529 college saving. We also have a new candidate that we're going to be voting in, Anna Malinsky. We also passed the resolution for 94 regarding New York City school governance. And let's see here. Oh, I do want to give a special highlight to PS 161. Their student council is magnificent. We were in a presentation and the students presented all the updated information, all the things that they were interested, i.e. all the STEM programs that they're looking forward to. They're looking forward, and now here it is. Their wish has been granted, mask off, because the masks were getting overwhelming. They're glad to see each other's faces, have face-to-face interactions. Some are still a little uneasy though, because, you know, as we know, the virus is still out here in different variants. However, they ran their whole student body meeting. They introduced themselves from all of their elected officers and their members. And they also gave kudos to the school staff for being there and being ready and available to them during COVID, and also providing the extra counseling for mental health, just to bring some of the ease, to ease the tension during COVID, and especially when remote learning was in effect. And so now that the transition is here and we are back to in person with everything, the students over there are very excited and happy. And I think that might be about it for me, right? Oh, no, that isn't. I tell a story. The Manhattan High School's President Council, they had just passed a resolution about PTA access to parent contact information. It was unanimously adopted on February 14th meeting. So that's good. So now, you know, parents have access to all the information that they need. And if they need assistance with anything, of course, they can go straight to their school principal or parent coordinator, or they can go to their websites. And as we all know, the student leadership team meeting for open meeting law has been adopted, and there is a resolution for citywide leadership teams back on the table again, underneath the Chancellor's Regulation Act A655. And that's about it for my report. Hello,
Thank you.
you're welcome.
Thank you for your report. Okay, who do we have up next, David? You're
Okay,
muted.
Gladys, I don't think is here yet, but she's also going to present later on down with the resolution. So we can move on to the district attorney's office. I know we lost our faithful Mr. Lockett, and I don't know if they've got a replacement here yet for him. Is there anybody here from the DA's office? If not, Angel will have to reach out and ask them who they're going to be their rep for CB11.
Yeah, they were at public safety recently, and they're about to hire a new person, but they weren't there just yet.
Okay, so then we understand why they're not here. So we'll continue to move on. Since Claris is not here, we can then move to Harlem Careers. we have our representatives from Harlem Careers, Miss Martin and Miss Angela.
So
Yeah, go ahead.
I've been extremely busy with everything that I've had to do with the East Harlem Community Partnership. So personally, I cannot give you a formal update on
Okay.
everything that is Harlem Careers. I do know that, as always, to please continue to check out the websites and submit information that is relevant for children and families, for the students and families, so we can continue to move forward to make sure that we give everyone an opportunity to find what they need to become their best selves.
Thank you, Angela. And again, Harlem Careers was developed by 3 board members, community board members, in an effort to help share community resources for around education, around youth, around learning opportunities. And it's been a little over a year. So we congratulate them and we continue to support them in their work.
Thank
Yeah.
you for that, David. And as always, we give kudos to the young lady who founded Harlem Careers and invited Angela and myself along, which is Eva Chan. And the site is still up and is still running, and we are sharing information, and the information that's coming through is great, and folks are utilizing the site. So we thank you and Community Board 11 for all that you're doing for the site. Thank you.
We thank you too. And they say it takes a village. And I tell you, it was a village. This is why I was a little late getting to this meeting as I'm leaving the building, and we're dealing with, one of our families in the community. And that's what it takes. Everybody contributing a little piece. So I have to say, within East Harlem, there are many different communities. And I'm very fortunate to be graced to share in one of those communities in the DOE. I've ran my own community center for years, and it was an interesting aspiration when we said we would build a new building, but where do we go to rebuild that new building? And I can't thank Dr. Hernandez anymore for allowing us not only to run the satellite out of the school for many, many years, but to allow us to move in and make space for us in 2018 to move a whole community center into his building and become part of the school community within the school community. He has allowed me to build rooms on the first floor out of the cafeteria. He's allowed me to clean out the basement and take over that space since I cleaned it out. He's allowed me to take over classrooms and make them offices and for administration, as well as prevention. And we're really working hard to strengthen that on mental health services as well. And again, he says, if you bring it, I got the space. Now, I don't know where we're going to put the mental health component, but I'm sure when we sit down, we'll find a space that they can rest their head. But it's been a great partnership. Many people say we're children and brothers from another mother or another father. We don't know where, but we both put our love for children and our devotion to making it better and creating paths for children as paths was created by ourselves in the village of the community. So I look forward to continuing to expand. And I think it's very interesting, the presentation that Dr. Hernandez has prepared is one of safety, is one of importance. And I'll say this, in dealing even with the situation today, as great as things as we provide in schools, education, in community centers, social emotional development, a different kind of education, the most important thing is the safety of a child when they come into our care and when they leave our care. And I think, as you will see in the presentation, safety is of the utmost importance to our students, to our community partners, and we need to find a way to help support the work on behalf of Dr. Hernandez and the proposal he wants to put forward today. So Dr. Hernandez, Tony, Antonio, many different names. He's still Principal Hernandez to me at heart. The floor is yours. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Do I have sharing power here, David? But before I do, I want to thank the community board members, community board 11 members for letting me, giving me this platform on behalf of my 569 students. I'm here representing them, right? Because that's really what we do first, is represent our students, represent our children. Just want to take a quick second to thank, of course, David Giordano, who has been a strong partner in the work. And I say the work sort of in a nebulous fashion because that is what it is. It's not a work, it's the work. It's services across the board. It's wraparound services, it's in services, it's mental health services. It's any service we can possibly provide. So David, you always thank me for coming, for giving you space in our building, but where would we be without the services that you provide our families and our students, right? So it's really one hand washes the other and both watch the children, right? And that's really ultimately what it's about. I want to thank Reverend Brown, Vice Chair of Community Board 11. Thank you for allowing me this opportunity to speak and to share my concerns around safety, and hopefully get your support and the Community Board's 11 support. Angel Muscane as well, thank you so much for your support, and all the other members of Community Board 11. I sincerely appreciate this opportunity. I'm going to keep it short and sweet and simple. And of course, Dr. De La Cruz, our superintendent, our fearless superintendent, who since the inception of her taking over the district has done nothing but look out for our community, our families, our teachers, our administrators, just everyone, our students. She has just been a stronghold in the community in terms of making sure that our emotional, mental, and social needs are met, at the same time that she's held high standards for us in instruction and education. So I owe a debt of gratitude for her as well and for her support. David, if I could just have some sharing power, is that possible at all? Or
Yeah, you can share. You're good.
oh, thank you, Angel.
You're
He
welcome.
handles all of that. I just talk.
There it is. Thank you. Can you see my screen?
Yes.
So we are, as David Giordano already shared, we're the Lexington Academy. We are located on the corner of 104th and Lexington. You'll know us by this beautiful heliochronometer. And if you are ever in the neighborhood and want to know more about it, please stop in. We'd gladly speak to you about it. But it really represents the diaspora, the African diaspora in our community. It represents the the Puerto Rican diaspora in our community, the Jewish diaspora. It really does speak about the different cultures and peoples that have called East Harlem their home. And each one of these represents one or more of those cultures. And it is a sundial, it's a sun clock. So it's forever keeping time of our neighborhood. So please stop in and visit us. To the right of that, there's a beautiful mural that you need to come and see, representing the health and well-being of our students. Who are we? Who is Lexington Academy? Tell you a little bit about our mission and vision. The Lexington Academy, we seek to maintain an educational environment in which the entire school community. So we've had these words in place for over a decade since I became principal, and we were thinking community then. Is it in partnership with community-based organizations and families to work to ensure that all students are provided with the skills to become lifelong learners. Through collaboration and standards-driven instructional curricula, we will engage all students and assist them in achieving high standards that will teach them to become, and this is my favorite part of our mission statement, competent, compassionate, committed, conscientious, and competitive contributing citizens of the world. And that last sentence in our mission statement is really our vision, is to create lifelong learners that are competent, compassionate, committed, conscientious, and competitive contributing citizens of the world. We're no longer an island, right? We know what's happening in Ukraine. We know what's happening anywhere in the world affects us all. And COVID has certainly helped us to really sort of gain insight on that. We're no longer isolated people. We're no man is an island unto himself or herself. Just want to tell you a little bit about us further. Again, we're located on 104th Street between Lexington and Park. We are in the heart of what I call the heart of East Harlem, because I think we're the heartbeat. We serve a multicultural, multilingual community. We have 569 amazing, beautiful students. We service grades 3K through 8. We are 77% Hispanic, 18% Black, African American, 2% white, 11% of our students are English language learners, and 28% of our students are students with disabilities. So we are quite a diverse community. And we believe in educating the whole child. We partner with community-based organizations like Children's Aid to help meet the needs of our families, their social and emotional development, and to receive enriching experiences before, during, and after school. Some of our biggest supporters, like I said, Children's Aid, I can't thank them enough. The New York City Football Club, which was launched at Lexington Academy, City in the Community just right now. My APs are in another meeting, opening up an additional soccer meet, and we just had 17 more parents agree to vaccinate their kids so they can participate in competitive sports. Woohoo to my APs for the work that they're doing and for our families to being committed. Cycle, we have a cycling program. We work with Randall's Island Park Alliance, the East Harlem Asthma Center, who at the height of Omicron came to our school and tested every single one of my staff members to make sure we kept the school safe. Union Settlement, and I can't say enough with Children's Aid, that is why they're on there twice. Students receive additional family support services. We have 3 arts programs in our school. We have cultural enrichment programs through SEA and other community-based organizations, as well as sports, academics, and beyond. We go beyond whatever we need to get, we get it. But there's one concern in our building. In 2 years, my building will be 100 years young. She will turn 100 years of serving the East Harlem community as a school. And I think it's time to give her a little bit of a facelift, right? We all deserve a little bit of help when we get to be 100. And she certainly deserves that. And I have concerns about the safety, structural safety of our building at times, right? And I would be sort of remiss if I didn't highlight that to the community. And if you all remember, just a few months ago, we lost 13 people rather, to a devastating fire in the Bronx, a devastating fire that touched beyond the Bronx, right? And affected communities and families beyond our very own area, as far as West Africa. We know that that's a reality. Well, why am I bringing this up? Well, I'm bringing this up because in October of 2018, Lexington Academy itself had quite a tragic day. We had a fire in our school, and you can see the firemen there in front of our school. There's the heliochronometer right here. And to the right here, you'll see that they had to break all of our windows on the 3rd floor in order to get in there. We had to evacuate. Thankfully, I was working with a very organized after-school program, Children's Aid, and we were able to quickly get all of the kids out to safety and no one was harmed. But there is something that happened in the Bronx that everyone has spoken about, and unfortunately the news has dropped it, and that was doors. The important role that doors play in containing and stopping a fire from spreading. Luckily here, the door was closed, and so the fire was contained. Unfortunately, in our building, our doors are very, very, very old. And you can see one picture. This is one of our better swinging doors, which, by the way, are completely obsolete. No one uses swinging doors anymore because of the danger that they cause, right? Last year, we had a little 2nd grader pinch her finger in between these 2 doors that are trapped her finger, causing serious harm to her finger. But these doors no longer operate or function well in our school. And this is just one set of doors. I have 44 doors that are in desperate need of repair. And I'm begging the community board members to please support my school community in keeping our students safe, our families safe, by helping us to leverage the support of our borough president, Ayala's office, and anyone else that can support us in reconstructing, giving our school, who is now 100 years old, a quick facelift. It would be absolutely wonderful news for our school to be able to have doors that are actually functioning. You all remember Sandy Hook. You all remember Columbine. The realities are too real and too often for me to name them all and make this. I don't want to make this a depressing meeting, but oftentimes when we have shelter-ins, soft lockdowns, or drills, our doors they don't lock. They don't lock, which poses a serious risk to the teachers in that classroom, the students in that classroom, and the community at large. And so I'm asking the community board member to please support me with a simple letter of support so that we can get these doors repaired, replaced. They just need to be completely overhauled and completely replaced. And I'm asking for your support in this, please, so that we can prevent the next tragedy from happening, the next little finger that gets pinched and the child has to be rushed to the hospital, or the next fire that cannot be contained because the door is not working. I ask for your support. And again, please, if there's anything I can do to work in collaboration with the members of Community Board 11, you have my full support. I've been at the school for 23 years. I'm not someone who is just sort of sitting here and saying, I'm moving on to the next show. Lexington Academy has been at my heart for 23 years and continues to be every morning when I walk in there. I am proud to be there. I'm proud to call it my place of learning, my place of teaching. And I just want to make it better for our kids and the kids that are coming after our kids now. So thank you so much, Mr. David Giordano, Reverend Brown, Mr. Angel, Ms. Kane, thank you so much. And all the members of Community Board 11, thank you for your time.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Dr. Hernandez. And I'll just share very quickly. We'll have a few questions. I see Natasha's hand is raised, but I'll just say, yes, when there was a fire, I have to commend the staff of the school and the staff of Children's Aid in getting kids out to safety. And, you know, you never want to be in that situation, but it's always important to be prepared. And again, we rather have doors that stay open and we can move kids out than have to stop and hold doors and make sure that they don't swing. And that we, on a daily basis, stop to hold those doors when we see a child coming behind us so that they can get through safely, because it is a concern. And, you know, things were built differently 100 years ago. This was fine for the standards then. It is no longer the standards that we uphold or put in newer buildings that are built today. So I really, you know, feel important about supporting this. And I'll say this, you never want to be in that situation where there is a fire, but when there is, you better be prepared and have the easy access. And it's never a problem with these kinds of situations with doors until something goes wrong. And we'd rather not be part of something going wrong. And I think, you know, being proactive is where we need to be in our communities. Many of the schools in our community are 100 or 80 years old. And unfortunately, they need upgrades for many different reasons, but there should never be a reason why safety is not the most important. So as we go through the things, and I'll just add this, the day after that fire, we were there till 12 o'clock after that night, Dr. Hernandez comes and says, you know, the room that you're supposed to make your office, well, we're going to have to put that classroom in that room. And we actually couldn't move into that classroom for 9 months to make it our office, and we still made things happen. So I thank you, Dr. Hernandez, for always finding the space when it never is, but we find it. So Natasha has a question, and if there anybody else, please raise your hand and, you know, help me when I don't see those raised hands. Go ahead, Natasha.
All right, so I kind of got a question and a comment. So I just want to reemphasize the need for the doors to be fixed. Because I went to Lexington Academy for a while and I was working there this summer. So but just to clarify, it's not just the swinging doors in the hallways, it's the classroom doors also, right? All right.
Yes, 100%. I have about 44 of those, Natasha, that need to be brought to the 21st century. And our kids deserve this. Our kids deserve it. Bottom line, this is an issue of equity. Our kids should be going to buildings that are beautiful and state of the art and that are prepared to receive them. And they deserve it, bottom line. Thank you, Natasha. And I'm so proud of you. You know that, Natasha.
Any other questions? John? Hi, John.
Hey, David. Dr. Hernandez, I totally understand what you're saying. Listen, when I was a kid, I went to an elementary school in Brooklyn that opened the year the Titanic sank. So the thing is that, so I totally understand what you're saying, and I will make a motion for 11 support whenever the committee is ready.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much. Thank you, Mr. Green.
And you know, I just want to add, because the buildings are old and need, you know, upgrades. The building by the maintenance staff and the superintendent, they're amazing in how they keep this build. I don't know how 4 people keep the building clean, because I had 4 people for the little building I had, and we fight them all the time to keep it clean. So I think there's an amazing job to, even though kids enter into this old building, that it is clean, that it's welcoming, that there's visual signs of learning and all those other activities going on. And as Dr. Hernandez said, anybody's welcome to come and take a tour. We love to show off what we do and talk about what we do. And more of it is just meeting with kids and seeing the work on the walls. That really explains more of the work. Natasha, did you want to say something else?
Yeah, I have one more question. The doors, like, let's say that you get the money to replace the hallway doors. What type of doors are we like really looking at?
I love that question, Natasha. Thank you, because I've done a little bit of research on this. Ultimately, I would love self-closing doors so that they are connected to the fire alarms in our building, so that when the fire alarms go off, the magnetic device releases and the doors close. That would be the ultimate, right? That's what we're seeing in buildings across New York City that have the funding and that have the monies to do that. For some reason, we skip on education and we don't feel it's as important where our babies are going to school, where our future is. So ultimately, I would love to have doors that are self-closing and that are equipped, that are connected to our fire alarms.
And I'll just add, as Dr. Christie put it in the chat, and she does know the buildings in her district, is that, you know, Dr. Hernandez could be here asking for the bathrooms as well, for the auditorium to get air conditioned, for the I tell you, I don't know how the kitchen staff stay in that cafeteria room where they cook. You know, I said, I'll bring in air conditioning and put it in there. But these are the things, and what I've learned is sometimes it's not just having an air conditioner, it's, do we have the electricity downstairs to run from the panel up? And does the panel have enough electricity? And Dr. Hernandez knows, when we first moved in to the rooms we were in that summer, we helped to fix some of that electricity and air. Now, you know, again, that was, we move in one shot deal. It's not as easy for me to go back and get that money either. But I think this is where it plays an important role as a community, as a committee, that we advocate for these needs. And, you know, in all fairness, I think there are other ways that we have to advocate for the whole district as a whole. And we need to expand this as well. But today, what Dr. Hernandez is saying is safety is first. Before I get an air conditioner where we may be comfortable or uncomfortable, safety is first.
Yes.
Before, you know, so again, this is a priority. And I think as we prepare, and we'll start reviewing our council of district needs that we have to submit, that we really look at these projects that the schools in our community need, prioritize them. And for me, safety always comes first. I want to deliver that child in the same condition when that parent comes to pick up their child as they drop them off with us. And I know Dr. Hernandez wants that as well. Natasha?
I'm sorry, I may be overthinking this a
No,
little bit, but the fire alarms, if they were to be connected to these doors that you're talking about, would that mean all the fire alarms need to be replaced also, or are they able to do that with the old system?
I think our system is under 10 years old, so I believe that they can connect it to the current system, Natasha. But the answer is not certain. I'm not certain on that, but I believe they can connect it because the wires and the piping is all there.
Any other questions? Yes, Angela, I'm sorry.
Not a problem. This is just a point of information. Let's say that I just won the lottery I have a whole bunch of money so I can fix a school and fix all the things that you said, the air conditioning, the bathrooms, fix the doors. What would happen to the children for a school to get an overhaul like that? Where would the children that go to that school go to school?
I love that question, Ms. Billings. Ultimately, we would do it. So I'm having the outside sidewalks repaired right now in April, and we're going to do it when the kids are on vacation. So we would work with the construction authorities to do it during the summer months. We would relocate to a neighboring school for the summer. We want to do it over the weekends, on Saturdays, on Sundays, we would get permits so that we don't impact student instruction and student learning, because we definitely don't want the kids outside of the building. We want them in the building. So we would definitely do so around the students' work time, right? That's their building, that's theirs. We just have to find times around that.
The thought came to me, what would happen? Because would the time of COVID, although we couldn't know what would happen, that gave everybody a really long period of time that things could have been fixed.
Yes.
All it had to do, even, if you ask parents to donate some time, DOE donates the supplies, something to get the children moving forward. Because if we do not upgrade, we are doing our children a disservice. They will not be, I love your mission statement, competitive, the multiple C's, ending in competitive citizens. I think that is the best part of the whole dynamic. We want our children to be able to play in the field and be viable. And so we need to begin to do these things for them. So I just wanted to get a concept, like, how would you do for all the things that need to be done? That sounds like you got to shut down the school.
So we would do them a little bit at a time, and over time, over the last 10 years, I've managed to get the floors replaced. They were old wooden floors. Okay. All of them were replaced without interrupting student instruction at all. About 4 years ago, I managed to convince the DOE to move us to the head of the list for new lighting. And we did so without interrupting student instruction. And the doors are really a minimal intrusion in terms of construction. That would be a very simple fix that could be done over the weekends. It could be done over holidays so that students are not interrupted.
Well, I hope that everyone here is putting good thoughts and good vibes and good aura out into the universe, because not only your school, but all the schools that have come in before us to ask for things, we need to begin to figure out how to create the situations and dynamics that our children need so that they can move forward and be successful, and the desire to stay in this community because the community was so supportive of them that they can't imagine living anywhere else. And then by and large, we'll do a 360-degree change for everyone in the community. Thank you.
Thank you. I put those C's in the chat for you. I put the C's in the chat for you.
We have a full agenda. I know we have Dr. Christie and Rev Brown. So we'll take those two questions quick and then we'll move on to a motion. John did say he would put a motion forward. Dr. Christie, and then I'll let Rev finish up. I know Rev is first, but I figured you the chair, you go next. Yeah, Dr. Christie, thank you.
Oh, thank you. I was thinking I was going to let Dr. Brown, I'm calling you Dr. Brown, Yolanda, to go in front of me. I was just going to put in there some estimates because you asked a great question, Angela. So we've been working on this and our schools have been working on this. And this is where it's so important. I want to just shout out Dr. Tony Hernandez. We keep messaging, our schools keep messaging. And as everyone said, it's there's such a need all over in East Harlem, but also throughout the whole city, right? Our buildings are outdated. We have some beautiful buildings. But you can see there, we have done estimates just to have AC in one building for those, just the common areas, typically is around 225,000. And that's just for ACs. I don't know how much Tony's doors were. I just want to say I completely agree. Doors are essential, especially with fire prevention. So I just want you to know, Tony, I hear you. That's essential. The other thing I put in the chat, and I just want to lift, is that our buildings are not handicap accessible. And so this also causes an equity issue, not just with facilities, but also with the number of our students with special needs having to go to certain schools because of an elevator. In East Harlem, we only have 5 schools, 5 out of the 23 that actually have elevators. And I can just tell you that I know our CECAC, Dr. Kaliris, and you know, this is where in community and our principals and our community board 11, we keep elevating these concerns. And I know that we keep meeting with our elected officials and just saying, you know, these are the concerns, these are going to keep, as Tony said, keep chipping away, but we have to also find a way to prioritize what are the greatest needs and really lift and amplify. Another thing, just because while I have everyone's, you know, ear about hopes and dreams, and a proposal that we did meet with Borough President Mark Levine, is we do have some pools in East Harlem, but not necessarily inside of a school, right? But in the 45 building that's located on 120th Street and First Avenue, there's actually a pool already there, but it's in disrepair. Asphalt Green would like to partner with us. We've already had professionals come and do an estimate to how much it would make these repairs, and that would be about $1.2 million for those repairs. We have the ear of Mark Levine and Eddie Gibbs, and I know Diane. Everybody knows about this is, you know, hopes and dreams, because again, we really think how powerful it would be for the community to have a pool for the public, indoor, year-round, and really teaching every child how to swim, the gift of swimming. I don't want to go into the statistics about drowning, especially for young people, but we could also do, you know, lifeguard certification, have it open on the weekend. Like I'm getting really just excited about all of the possibilities. So again, that's on the wish list. Again, not just, you know, doors first. That's a quick fix. And
No, Angela, we're gonna move on.
Yep,
Wait,
sorry
no, I
about
want
that.
to ask just this simple.
Angela, we gotta
Doesn't
move on.
Boys Harbor have a pool?
So
That is
the boys club has a pool. It's actually under repair right now, but that's not a school building, right? And so that's why I was saying that, like,
No,
yes-
I'm not
No,
talking
no, she
about the
means in the
boys
head share
club.
building. So that's
Oh, the
another
head share-
issue.
yeah.
So that's
Yep.
why we're gonna move on. So
Yep,
one of the
yep,
things that we
absolutely,
do,
yep.
every year we get from the superintendent what the needs are for all the schools. And then we go
Okay.
through it and look what matches up to the things that we say are the priorities as well. And that's what goes into our budget priorities, right? So what we're gonna do is ask Dr. Dela Cruz to come back to talk about the pools and then make those requests as well. So then when we are reviewing the list of stuff, we'll have a better sense of what the needs are and what we should prioritize us, because we can't put all the things even though we want to and we need to. But we need doors at 72. Angel, am I able to vote on that? Because I work there?
Yeah, me too. That's why I'm asking.
You're both able to vote there too.
Okay, good. So we had John propose a motion. John, can you put the motion forward and we can get a second and move forward to getting
Thank you,
doors?
David. Thank you, David. In the name of safety, I move that we write a letter of support for new doors for Lexington Academy.
Can I get a
I
second?
second.
I second.
We supposed to do this by hand raising, Angel? Natasha's got a hand raised. Natasha gets the second. So all, Angel will do the roll call. Thank you all. Thank you, Dr. Hernandez, for your presentation. See you in the morning.
Okay. Leroy Andino's not here. Yolanda Brown.
Thank you, Community Board 11.
Hi, members. When I call your name, please answer yes or no. Yolanda Brown,
Yes.
Angela Donadell,
Yes,
David Giordano,
Yes.
John Green,
Absolutely.
Robert Harvey.
Yes.
Thanks, Robert. Pat Martin,
Yes.
Natasha Rodriguez,
Yes.
Isaac Scott,
Yes.
Russell Schuler,
Yes.
motion carries.
Thank you. Thank you all. Thank you, Hernandez. So we'll put that letter forward. And, you know, again, sometimes with the letter, we also need to do a little advocacy. So we'll also support those efforts as well. As we continue on, we do have other presentations. Dr. Clarence, forgive me, but we just moved you to the end when we figured you may not be here. So we're just going to continue to move the agenda along. So next we have our information and presentation at African-American Making the Nation's Table of News exhibition house for the African Center. So I know I messed that up, but I apologize.
David, we couldn't really hear you.
Huh?
We couldn't really hear you when you like turned.
Oh, I'm
You go
so
far
sorry.
to the right, we can't hear you.
So should I say it again?
Yes.
Yeah, but like face the computers. That way the mic picks it up.
Okay, we have African American Museum, right, on food. Are they here to do that? Is that, I can't read right now because the screen is too far. Go ahead, Lauren, please.
Hi, everybody. I'm so delighted to be here with you. And I know I'm on a very tight schedule here. So at 7:58, that's it. My name is Lauren Silber. I am the head of education at the Museum of Food and Drink, which you can see on my little picture here, that MOFAD spells MOFAD, which is the Museum of Food and Drink. And you might not be familiar with MOFAD. For the past few years, we actually were located in Brooklyn and Williamsburg, but partly because of COVID, we gave up our space there, and partly because we knew we were opening a really fantastic exhibition called African/American Making the Nation's Table. And it's all about, it's housed at the Africa Center, just opened on February 23rd. And it's all about how African Americans have really shaped the cuisine of our nation. And most of the people, things, places, inventions, dishes have not been brought to light in the past. And so this exhibition really brings to highlight the amazing contributions that African Americans have made to food. I'm going to try and share my screen with you. I'm just going to try and take about 5 minutes to show you some stuff on our website. And then if anybody has any questions, I'd be very happy to answer your questions. Also, if you want to just jot down my email address, Lauren, L-O-R-E-N, @mofad.org. I'd love to hear from you, and I'd love to start some conversations about how we can serve your communities better. You know, we were really hooked up to all the Brooklyn communities when we were out there, especially Williamsburg. And now it's, we're really working on getting the local communities to learn about the exhibition and learn about our school programs. That's the main reason that I'm here. So I'm going to try and share, and you can tell me how this is working. I think it should work. How's that? Can everybody see that? Great. Okay. So this is MOFAD's motto right here. It says, "Food is culture." And I'll just read a bit of it. As the most universal aspect of human existence, it's a powerful lens for understanding ourselves, each other, and the world around us. MOFAD is a new kind of museum that uses this power to create cultural change towards a more thoughtful, equitable, and delicious future. So that sounds fun right off the bat. We do always have food involved on some level, although right now, because of COVID, we don't have the same situation that we've had in the past, but we still do have food. The exhibition is open for the general public from 10 to 5 every day, except Monday and Tuesday. And you can walk in, or you can go on our website and you can make a reservation. It's a pretty small exhibition, so there's only a finite amount of people allowed every hour. So there's 60 people allowed every hour. So it is a good idea to make a reservation. But what I want to talk about most today is the exhibition. And can you guys see this new page, or do I have to share it again? You can see it. It says explore some of the incredible stories. Okay, great.
Yes.
Yeah, we see it.
Yeah, so our current exhibition is called African American, Making the Nation's Table. And I want to play you this very short video. It's by Dr. Jessica Harris, who I'm sure many of you have heard of. She's one of the world leaders in African American history and especially food history. And she very briefly says what it's all about here.
Right, man.
I can't hear. I think you didn't share your sound.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I can't hear the video at all. I'm not sure if you shared your sound or not.
Oh, I'm not sure I know how to share the sound.
When you go where you share,
Yeah.
you know, the screen, it'll say share audio as well. First, there'll be a thing in the bottom, and then you go to advanced settings.
So stop sharing
Okay.
and then reshare. But when you reshare, there's a screen that pops up like asking you like which like browser you want to share. There should be a check mark at the bottom that says share my
Share
audio.
sound. I see it. I see it. Thank you so much.
And then you got to go to advanced options and hit it there as well.
Okay. All right. Let's try that. Okay. You hear?
For 400 years,
Yep.
in fields, kitchens, taverns, and businesses around the country, African Americans have shaped our national culinary identity. We see the legacy everywhere: rice, whiskey, ice cream, sugar, supermarkets. And yet these stories, for the most part, have gone unrecognized. I'm Dr. Jessica B. Harris, and I'm the lead curator on the next exhibition from the Museum of Food and Drink, African/American, Making the Nation's Table. It's about time. In fact, it's past time. But clearly now is the time to celebrate, to savor, and to remember. African American food is American food.
Okay. So that kind of wraps it up right there, right? And then you can explore this website at length. There's all kinds of things to do and see and videos on our YouTube, and an interactive legacy quilt, which is it's actually like 20 feet tall and 40 feet wide. And you can explore it on the website, and you can come and see it too. And I want to show you, just because I know you have so much on your agenda today, I want to skip right to what the offerings are for our schools. So for schools, we have several programs. We have a tour, and we have also some activities that can be done there. So we have a basic tour that's called African American Food is American Food. And you can see that it's for grades 4 to 12. We're not inviting the really little tiny guys to this exhibition because it's pretty sophisticated, and it has some definitely subject matter that won't resonate for younger kids. We are offering them a virtual class that they can do in their classroom. But mostly we're reaching out to 4th through 12th graders. And they can take a tour of the entire exhibition, and then they can also add on activities. So for instance, we have Quilt Your Culinary Hero. This kind of comes from, inspired by our legacy quilt. We have something called Rice Culture, which is all about how rice was first brought to the United States by enslaved people, and how they actually were highly skilled at this. Which is why they were brought to South Carolina. I can see you nodding your heads. A lot of you know this, but a lot of kids don't know this. And we actually give kids a chance to do some of the rice pounding and using fanner baskets and seeing what it was like to do that sort of thing. And then for only high school students, we're doing charcoal filtering, which is another skills that African Americans brought to the United States, was how to filter things with charcoal. And I don't know if any of you have heard that recently. This guy, Nathan Green, was a master distiller. He was an African American, and he has not been brought to the surface until a few years ago. So he was somebody who really created, excuse me, I've got a marauding cat here. He was somebody who really created the huge business of distilling whiskey in our country and has not come to recognition until very lately. And you can see that we have a lot of different price points for Title I, going all the way up to private schools. And we also are offering, for the first time, a full class pricing and a small class pricing. So there are a lot of options for students to come. And I would love to talk to you about getting more people from this neighborhood, from East Harlem, West Harlem, Central Harlem, also Washington Heights, all the surrounding areas. Since we were in Brooklyn for so long, we have really strong relationships with the Brooklyn schools there, but we haven't yet really developed a lot of strong relationships. And we think that this exhibition has so much to offer for your schools, not only just as coming as a school class visit, but any other ideas you might have. So I do hope to hear from you, and please email me, and I would love to talk to you. That's about all I have to say about that. And does anybody, oh, I went over time already? Oh my God.
No, but I'll say this real quick. I mean, it's amazing that so many things we don't know that we live with daily are knowledge of how they came. And I think the important thing is to expose and help. So I didn't see a thing for CBOs in there. I mean, I am with the school, but I operate separately on a budget than the school. And I have a much less budget than Dr. Hernandez.
I know.
So, you know, like, they are his students, so maybe I can get him to pay for it, but we have like the culinary program of 2 classes, I think would be great to, you know, again, these kinds of things enhance the learning, you know, for students. Not only do we sit there in class, go over recipes for healthy living, teach you how to cook it, but now we bring you to a museum where you can learn about this stuff and how important it is in our culture. So we would definitely, I'll be reaching out to you, Lauren.
Oh, great. I would love to talk.
72 and Children's Aid, to try and establish, you know, at least for some of the cooking groups that are doing these things, it's just that next level of enhancing the learning experience for our kids. So
thank you.
Angela, you have a question, I know.
Yes. 1, thank you. 2, I've seen Dr. Harris. I saw the Netflix special. I thought that was the same lady, which also is why I knew about the rice, because she discussed how Africans brought the rice in their cornrows. They hid it because when they was taken, they didn't know if there'd be food there. So they brought their own.
Right.
See,
I should have mentioned that. Yeah, the Netflix movie documentary is called High on the Hog. That's also the name of her book.
High on the Hog. I would have them see that video before we would bring them to the museum, and then make the connection.
Well, actually, it's like a 7-part series. It's like 7 hours because she travels to different places. But that's not all. So 1, I am going to drop you an email because I can help maybe connect you to other schools so that we can begin this to start that dynamic. When did you open? Because I get emails from the Africa Center and I didn't see anything but notice, because I live 3 blocks away, that people were going in and out of the museum the other day. So I thought that was very interesting. Also, do you have a collective that can come and visit schools, like bring information to the school to pique the interest of just not only the students, but the teachers? So you come in and you do a little presentation. That could be arranged. Somebody to just share. You could even share that video, talk about the rice in the hair, because I think that we need to get more people from the community there to have an understanding. To me, this makes logical sense. In slavery, we did all the cooking. Therefore, it makes sense that we had a hand in certain cultural dynamics that are in this country. So that's all I wanted to say. I will drop you another email. I am a very good connector.
Thank you, Angela. I can't wait to hear from you.
Yes.
And yes, we do. I'm not the only educator there. There are 3 part-time educators. In fact, I'm not really planning on doing the tours myself. I have enough to do, and we hire people who have great backgrounds in Black history and food studies, which is not my background. So I think they're the best people to do this work. So they might be very interested in coming and doing some outreach in your schools. And I will definitely fly that idea with.
So just one last point of information. Although you're located on Fifth Avenue, you're located on Fifth Avenue where I looked at your price structure. Is going to be difficult for the actual regular residents of the community.
I know.
Even with the segues you had there for seniors and things of that nature.
Yes.
So then you might want to come up with a, hey, this week it's half off, and then try to see if we can get more people. Because once you're exposed, you'll come back.
Yes, and I would like to say something to that too, because I guess you looked at our pricing page.
Uh-huh.
So we do have discounts for a number of different kinds of situations, but MoFat is not doing this, but the Africa Center is heading the outreach with that, and they have created a discount for people that live in I guess the 5 surrounding
They had
codes.
like 8 different zip codes that definitely cover East Harlem, Upper Harlem. I checked the website out after we started talking.
Oh, so they can help you with that, definitely. I don't know much about that discount. It's not on our website. I will definitely look into that more though.
Yes, so I will drop you an email so you'll have my contact information, and then we can figure out how to move forward from there.
That's great. And I just want to mention one more thing before my time is up. Because of COVID and everything, we were supposed to open this exhibition 2 years ago. And like 3 weeks before we were supposed to open, April 3rd, 2020, COVID hit, and it was just terrible. So we've been waiting 2 years to bring this to people. And unfortunately, because everything's changed, we're only going to be having this exhibition through June 19th.
Which is truly sad. But
it is.
The one thing I will say that I commend you all for was the say her name, say their names. The exhibit that's outside of the museum.
Yeah,
with different names of people that were that had struggles with the whole Black Lives Matter thing. Yep. So, yay!
Thank you. So that's about it. Please get in touch.
Thank you. I think this is a wonderful opportunity in our community, but also for our children, and we should, do every effort to make as many kids who can be exposed and participate. And again, I would definitely want, my 40 kids that are in the cooking program to be able to go to this.
Please, yeah. We're looking forward to, we got to get those kids in there because there's only about 2.5 more months.
Yeah, and now that you said it's only going to be that, we got to get them in sooner than later. Yeah. Well, thank you so much, Lorraine.
Thank you. It's been an honor talking to you. I'm going to have to take off now, though. Take care.
So we also have Centro, the Puerto Rican studies that are up in Silverman. They're here to do a presentation, informative presentation. Sophia, how are you?
Hi, I'm great. Thank you so much for having us. We're so excited to present. Everybody else's presentations were so amazing. It's so amazing to hear all the things that people are doing for the community. It's just so awesome. And we're so happy to be able to introduce all that Centro is doing to you guys. So while I'm kind of going through things, my intern supervisor Rosa, she'll be playing a video just right after. So I don't know if she has access to share her screen. Just want to make sure she does. Okay, great. So before we play the video, I just want to formally introduce myself. My name is Sofia Rosario. I'm an intern at Centro and a junior at Hunter College. I'm majoring in political science with an emphasis in pre-law. And I actually transferred here from Las Vegas, Nevada. And so growing up in Vegas, I did not have a lot of experience engaging with my community as a Puerto Rican myself outside of my family. Unfortunately, in Vegas, there are not a large majority of Puerto Ricans. So it was just, like I said, me and my family. And when I found out about Centro, when I moved to New York, it really opened my eyes to an opportunity to engage further with my community and also find ways to support it better. So when I saw that there was an opportunity to intern here at Centro, I immediately jumped on it and took that chance. And here I am today presenting for you guys about all of the amazing things we're doing. So I'd like to start by introducing you all to what Centro is and a little bit of our history. So we have a twofold mission, and that is to, one, collect, preserve, and provide access to archival and library resources that documents the history and culture of Puerto Ricans, and two, to produce, facilitate, and disseminate interdisciplinary research about the diasporic experiences of Puerto Ricans, and further to link this scholarly inquiry to social action and policy debates. We are here to introduce Centro to those who don't know who we are or what we do, and also to make an effort to engage with more communities in all of the 5 boroughs. So now I'm going to pass it off to Rosa to discuss what else Centro has to offer. Rosa, there's no sound on it.
He probably has to share the screen too, the sound on the screen.
Yeah.
No worries, we here with you. We're all in space together. We're in the squares, the Hollywood square. These are New York squares.
Apologies, just give me a second. This is Murphy's Law. If it's gonna go wrong, it is.
We can also, Rosa, share the slides and just kind of go off of those. If the recording doesn't work, we can still do that.
Don't feel bad. It happened to me when I was trying to DJ music with the agency and it wouldn't flip over. I was so embarrassed. I'm a Hunter student too. I went to Hunter School of Social Work as a graduate student. Good school.
That's
I
amazing.
wasn't
I love it.
in that nice new building you're in. I was in the old building, 79th Street.
Yeah, we're actually opening a new building for pre-med and health students. It's a science building. So we're just working out like the foundation and the ground floor. So we're really excited because, you know, you've been to Hunter, you know, four buildings, but a lot of people, gets very crowded very easily. The escalators are always so full.
Never
very
working, right?
Sometimes never working. Exactly. Okay.
Just tell us what spirit about the school, you know, what makes it a unique place. Tell us what you're here to tell us. We don't need pictures.
About Centro. Well, Rosa.
Hello,
There you go.
Hi,
apologies.
Rosa. How are
You
you?
We
Right.
prepared this beautiful little video. It was going to be flashy, it was going to be exciting, and then this happens, of course. Well, we are the Center for Puerto Rican Studies. We're located over at 119th Street and 3rd Avenue. There you will find our library and archives and our research center. The reason why we're here today is because we want to start opening those lines of communication with our community. A lot of you know about Centro. Some of you have not had the opportunity to interact with us, but we are reaching out to be able to start these relationships. And I'm really hoping that we can have conversations after this presentation. At the Center for Puerto Rican Studies, we have a number of programs. At the library, we have the opportunity for school groups to come visit us and participate in workshops around research. So if you want to bring your students to learn about research, contact me and we will have an opportunity for you to bring your students, or we can hold a webinar with your students where they can learn about firsthand and secondhand, first source. So in addition to that, we have started to work with community organizations to safeguard their stories. We were having a meeting over with the Schomburg, and they were telling us about the fact that a lot of small organizations were losing their histories because they were getting rid of their archives or getting rid of their papers. So we want to help organizations in our community to be able to prepare their papers for archiving. We do not want their stories to be lost. We have an education program that offers teaching resources for any age level. So it could be adult programs, it could be elementary school programs. These are activities and videos and documentaries that tell the story of the Puerto Rican experience in the United States. So on our website, those items are available, they're free. They include the resource and it includes the teaching guides. We want to make this easy for a teacher to be able to share these materials. We have many job openings. We have a new director, which is Dr. Yarimal Bonilla. she's come in with a lot of energy. She's come in, we're now going in new directions that we have never been able to go. We were limited in funding. She's brought in the funding. We were limited in scope. She's opened up our mission. So we have all these opportunities and our programs are opening. So the community can decide if they want to be part of Centro as volunteers. They can also have the opportunity to apply for some of the jobs that are coming up. You see our website, and we are looking forward to working closer with our communities. If you have any questions, let me know. Sophia and I are willing to collect your information and then speak to you at another time as well.
Thank you. Thank you. That was really wonderful. And, you know, it's so great to have two entities, right? Centro and MOFAD here to maintain the culture and make sure that it lives on beyond when it all occurred, and that we don't lose our history. I'm an Italian Puerto Rican. My family's from East Harlem. I grew up on the West Side, but coming to East Harlem for me was learning some of the culture that I didn't have early on. And I'm sure for Sophia, it's the same for you. I actually have a graduate student that's also from Vegas here, from Columbia, you know, and so I'm sure the experience coming into East Harlem is a wonderful, enriching experience, and that we must maintain our culture before we lose it. And, you know, we can see the gentrification occurring in this neighborhood now. And, you know, sometimes the culture that's there gets lost in the new culture that's coming in. And it's so important that we maintain those roots, but also evolve as a community as well. So I look forward to reaching out to you as well to ensure that we have some programming. You know, we need places to go for kids and to get them outside of the school building, because there's learning that occurs in the community. So thank you as well. Angela, I see you have a question. If anybody else, please raise your hand.
Hello, here's my question. So difficult question I have for you. I did not get your name or your title.
Yes. My name is Rosa Cruz, and I'm the partnership manager here at Centro. You're welcome to visit us. You're welcome to just let me know. My information is on our webpage, and we can give you a tour.
Calaris said that you're amazing, so that's enough for me.
She is amazing. I can confirm that. Yes.
Well, so I have to say, although I do not know you yet, Sophia, I hope to get to know you, but I know Calaris. So if Calaris said, yes, she's amazing, that's all I need to hear. Could you, you said I can find you on your website.
Yes.
On the website.
Yes, the website is listed at the bottom of the box.
So all I needed was Rosa Cruz to be able to find you. That's all I need.
You'll see my beautiful picture on the website.
Absolutely. You probably know my supervisor, but we'll talk about that. I have this strange feeling you know her.
Could be, could be.
It's a small world.
What do you think, Calaris? Yes, probably.
I think probably. Rosa was also in education, so they probably, yes.
Have bumped heads.
Oh, I don't know, bumped heads.
Well,
probably been part of the resistance together.
Well, no, that's what, see, everybody's always correcting me. I am a woman of a certain age. In my world, to say people bumped heads means you just ran into each other.
Right, you crossed
now
paths.
you have to be culturally competent. So yes, you two have probably passed each other somewhere in your travels as you began to protest the, you know, the mass, whatever, I can't even think of words now. But we're being recorded, so I need to be more professional. Yes, thank you very much, and I will.
Thank you, and I love the way when all else failed with technology, you jumped right into it and you did the presentation. And that's because you live this, you experience it, you feel it, and we thank you. And Angel has a question. Angel's in the office. We got to get Angel out of the office.
Yeah. Thank you, Rosa and Sophia, for your presentation. And just wanted to ask Rosa if you could forward, either of you could email me the presentation you were trying to give.
Oh, perfect.
And we'll share it with the agenda on our website so folks have an opportunity to see it on their own. I also have a contribution of some literature for the Centro that I was supposed to drop off years ago. And I forgot all about it. And as you were presenting, I just reminded myself it's in my cabinet. Who do I bring it to? Where do I bring it? How do I arrange to drop off a couple of books?
So I'm going to change, right now I have the website, but I'm going to change it to my email address. So anyone wanting to contact me, they can contact me through the email. So just email me and I'll make it happen.
Great, thank you.
Thank you, thank you. And we also have our board chair with us tonight, Xavier Santiago, and he actually raised his hand. So we will defer to Xavier. How you doing, Xavier?
Well, I'm here. You know, which there are many opinions on how I'm doing, but it's mine that matters, I guess. So I wanted to come in, say hi, thank you for everyone who's presented. Rosa, I just wanted to, I stepped away, taking care of my kids tonight. So this is really great, very empowering. I love our history, our culture, but also being able to share that as a resource. So I just want to come on and tell everyone thank you, and thanks for coming to present at the committee, and everyone on this committee, thanks for the great work you're doing. So yeah, look forward to collaborating, working together, and thank you for all that you do.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Thanks, Xavier. I have to commend Xavier as our chair, and when he was vice chair, he almost attended all of our meetings. So it would be remiss if he wasn't here tonight for these wonderful presentations. So thank you all. We have really two more things to kind of complete as we go on. If there are no other questions, Rosa will be in contact, but we should be wrapping it up, and we still going on. So without further ado, we have our CEC for president for how much longer? We won't talk about that. Anyway, we have our CEC for president here to give an update, but also to talk about the resolutions that we presented at the last month, and so we would vote on this evening. So thank you, Claris, Dr. Claris. Thank you.
Hi. Well, Xavier and David both know that I will be transitioning to a new position, hopefully by the end of this week. I am going to be the borough president PEP appointee. And so you'll have other people come in and give you updates on the CEC, but I will support as much as I can. I'm still president though for the next couple of days. So any questions on the resolutions, I'm more than happy to support on that. I do want to highlight there are a couple of things have happened in the Department of Education that are kind of big. One is, Angel, I don't know if you're going to put the resolutions on now. Okay. One is high school admissions. So there was a lot of controversy on high school admissions for this year. It's actually taken quite a while. It took the Department of Education quite a while to finally say, we are not going to change high school admissions. It was pretty much a lottery, and students that got an 85 average or above in middle school were eligible for what the city considers to be high performing schools. And I put that in quotes because we have different definitions of what a good school is. And so there was some pushback from some parents that thought that 85 was a low cutoff in the middle of the pandemic. But fortunately, the Department of Education did not change anything. Parents were concerned that it was going to be a last minute change, and that a lot of them had already submitted their applications or their rankings for the schools. And so, you know, a lot of us advocated for the change not to occur because it would be unethical. But those conversations about admissions for next year are being had. There's a task force that has been put together to really think about these high school admissions. The other really big thing for us in education, and we've talked about it in the space of there is a resolution for school governance. is mayoral control. Originally, it was proposed by Governor Hochul. It was embedded into the discussions about the budget to allow for Mayor Adams to have mayoral control for the next 4 years. With mayoral control, we have little ability to engage in a democratic conversation about governance of our schools. All of these different things in terms of admissions, in terms of support systems for our students with disabilities, for our English language learners. We don't have much say, and the city council doesn't really have much of a role in terms of holding the mayor accountable, although that is how he would like to spin it now. He doesn't want to call it mayoral control. He wants to call it mayoral accountability. And I know a lot of you have concerns about going back to school boards because there was a lot of experience of corruption, but I can promise you that there's still corruption with mayoral control. So what we're trying to do with this resolution is to ask that the state put together a task force so to only extend mayoral control for 1 year and to create a task force. Now that the mayoral control has been taken out of the budget, we have an opportunity to engage in those conversations and have hearings in order to assess whether it should be 1 year, maybe 2, a task force, a commission, what way we're going to engage to study for what the model should be for New York City. I do want to highlight that New York City is one of 2 districts in New York State that has mayoral control. We are also a district that is composed of 82% Black and Latino students. And we have seen that mayoral control is predominantly imposed on Black and Latino communities with the assumption that we are not engaged in governance in our schools. And so this move is incredibly important. The last thing I'm going to say is also about the budget. We need to have conversations with our elected officials about the budget for the Department of Education. So although we have stimulus money coming in, and for the last 2 years, we've been able to provide resources for our schools, not everything that they need, but, you know, good enough to keep us afloat these last 2 years. Mayor Adams has proposed an almost $1 billion cut, $1 billion to the Department of Education. He has suggested that every single agency is receiving a 3% cut. For the Department of Education, it's much more than that. Other agencies are getting 3%, the NYPD is not getting any. It actually gets a little bit of an increase. So why isn't this across the board? How are we talking about that? And how is it that we're disinvesting in our students in such a critical time where they're going to need us? So we had our CEC meeting last week. We talked about funding. We talked about supporting initiatives that have to do with community violence to help minimize community violence and think about conversations that we need to have. The other thing is the state tests are coming up now at the end of March 29th. And so we also spent some time informing our parents that they have rights to opt their children out of the state exam if they choose to do so. So more than happy to talk about these resolutions or anything that I mentioned right now. Lots going on in the Department of Education, never a dull moment.
Thank you, Dr. Caleros. Are there any questions from the committee on any of them? I had one suggestion after we actually voted on the universal child care, is that we should include, which is not on there now, that child care should be up until 6 o'clock. It should be all day. You know, they have after school programs for kids who are parents that work. However, if you have a 7-year-old, the 7-year-old can go to after school. But if you have a 4-year-old in a pre-K, which we're encouraged to do, there's no programming for the pre-K child after 3 o'clock. So in terms of adding something, subtracting, editing, if anybody has any thoughts, I would want to add that one to the resolution. Adopt the resolution and add an addendum to it, which says that we are also calling for all-day universal child care. So are there any other questions as it relates to any of these motions? If there are none, can we vote on them together as one, or no, we have to do them separate, right, Angel?
Not necessarily. You can do them as a bundle if the committee is, agrees.
So if we do them as a bundle, if nobody has any edits or objections or wants to have any discussion about any of these, I mean, this is why we also do give them out a month ahead of time so people can have time to review them, come prepared to ask questions. With the addendum, other than that, I'm comfortable voting or putting them all as a package and putting them forward. Is there any objections to putting them as a package going forward? Rev? Yes, I'm sorry. Your hand is raised.
Since no one had any objections, I wanted to move it forward and say that we would go ahead and motion to support.
Do I have a second? Is Patricia Martin?
Yes, I second.
So we have Rev Brown making a motion to support the resolutions. And we have a second by Patricia Martin. Can we do the roll call, please, Angel?
David, to support the resolutions with the addendum, if you could just restate the addendum quickly before I take the roll.
Sure. The addendum would be to add a bullet, whereas we would provide all-day childcare from 8 in the morning to 6 o'clock in the evening, as if we were implementing after school for early childhood, an after-school program for early childhood. I'll fix the language a little better with you, Angel, but yeah.
Okay, thanks.
I think I said it better the first time.
Got it. Thank you. Okay. Leroy Antino's not here. Yolanda Brown?
Yes.
Angela Donadell?
Yes.
David Giordano?
Yes.
John Green?
Aye.
Robert Harvey? He's not here. Pat Martin?
Yes.
Natasha Rodriguez?
Yes.
Isaac Scott?
Yes.
Russell Schuler?
Yes.
Try Robert again. Robert Harvey? He's there. Motion carries.
Thank you. Thank you all. Thank you, Dr. Caleres, for explaining these several times in different forums and committees. So we appreciate you. We still look for you to be a member as having a parent in the district. So we will look for you to come support us as well. We do understand there's a conflict of interest within your position, but we love having you in our space and square to help educate us all. As we move on, this last piece is our new piece. Oh, committee, on the mayor's preliminary budget. Angel, are you going to lead that discussion? Or are you?
I'll put it up. Give me a second.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, but it's your show. I'll just get the visual.
So again, I think, as we continue to look at what the needs are in the community, what this committee has to address in terms of the needs as we begin to prepare our budgets or our budget requests. I think we had some great presentations of opportunities in our schools in the last few months about the needs that are really detrimental to our community. So hopefully we can find ways to fit those in and be more specific. Oh, Jesus, I can never read this stuff. Can y'all hear me? Because when I try to read it on the other screen, maybe I'll put it in front of me and I won't look at y'all. Angel's making it bigger. Oh, it's better over here.
So these are do that.
Huh?
You want me to do the Zoom?
I got you now, but can you hear me?
I can hear you.
So these are, Angel, you want to talk for a little bit so I can get some sip of water? My mouth is dry.
Yeah, sure. I'm going to put it back to the regular size. Everyone received this via email, both in the full materials that were shared by OMB as part of the preliminary budget materials. Everyone's seen this. We also created this tracker that we use internally, and we broke it down by each committee's requests. So the veteran members will know the layout, the newer members, for the benefit of the newer members, I just explained, briefly. On the left, under that kind of reddish heading, is the request that was submitted last October by the full board. They assign it a new identifying number. There's a request category, the explanation of the request, what agency it goes to, and the committee that submitted it. Under the yellow heading is what we received from OMB, from the Office of Management and Budget. It's pretty self-explanatory. So for example, we'll take the request, the capital request 5, which is on line 3. You'll see that this request has already been funded. This committee is fortunate that it received a number of these responses. Other committees were not as fortunate. So I'll scroll down to each one. If anyone has questions about any of these or any input that they want to share, we can capture that tonight. The part of the purpose of this exercise at this point of the year is that once the mayor's preliminary budget has been issued, that's sent out to all the community boards, and community boards are given an opportunity to respond in writing, and then the council and concurrently the city council will hold, the city council's committees will hold hearings on the preliminary budget, giving the public an opportunity to weigh in, to also pose questions to the agency representatives. So there's opportunity for boards and individual members of the public to submit testimony. But for our purpose, other than the testimony, we want to look at what we received in terms of responses, decide how we feel about that, see what else we want to say to highlight in the written response. This is not an opportunity to submit new requests. This is an opportunity to respond to the prior ones. However, in the letter, because there's a letter that goes back to the mayor on behalf of the board, if there are new items that we want to highlight, and correct me if I'm not paraphrasing you correctly, Dr. Ramirez, but Dr. Ramirez was saying earlier that some of the cuts that have been in the press or that have been announced by the mayor aren't actually reflected in the actual numbers. Once you look deeper into the detail, if there are items like that that we want to elevate in that letter, then that certainly is the opportunity to raise that in our letter. So each committee will have a section of that letter to make those kinds of highlights. And if the committee also then wants to make comments on specific budget requests, usually for the ones that haven't been funded, just further amplifying why it's important that this particular request is something that should be prioritized for funding, then that's the opportunity to do that. This committee, I've been telling the other committees, just a bit of editorial, that this exercise is usually tough because this budget is a reflection of a given mayor's kind of policy stance and priorities. We have a brand new mayor. Obviously, he's been there a couple of months. Frankly, the responses so far from this administration have been poor across the board. This committee was fortunate that a number of its things lined up with priorities of the agency itself. So because the agency itself also prioritized them, then they were fun. Other committees have not been so fortunate. And this is the editorial part, what I think is that the mayor didn't have a clear plan for what he wanted to do. He just made an across the board, announcement of across the board cuts. And then his agency folks are scrambling to try to figure out how to respond to the different community boards. But my opinions are neither here nor there, but they're out there now. So I think that summarizes what this exercise is. If anyone has any questions about that, I'm all ears.
Any questions? This has been a process that's evolved for us in the board office, and I have to commend Angel under his leadership, because this is when we really started taking this a lot more serious, I think, than we have in the last previous decade. We're really doing research to support these projects. It's great to see that in part Dr. Hernandez's school We'll get some upgrades on some of the bathrooms. We also are supporting PS 171 as we did last month. So as Angel said, we do have to go through this, dissect it, ask for responses, but we also start beginning our framing process to do this whole process again. It's like a circle kind of thing every year. And two of the projects that we've heard over the last couple of months are some things that we would consider going forward and putting in this particular process as we go forward. So that's why it's really good to get as many of the schools in so we can hear really what are some of those concerns. And, you know, as I echoed earlier, to me, safety is always first and foremost, you know, so. Rev Brown, anything you want to add? I see two hands up. I have to go with Rev Brown first, and I saw Natasha's hand, and then we'll go with Ms. Clemens. Miss.
Yes,
Rev.
I know, I
Sorry.
just wanted to, I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead, Rev. I'm talking to you.
And I just want to say, tonight's engagement was a very good example of why it is important that we understand the needs of the schools within our district. Because oftentimes, you know, we may put things in based upon what's currently trending in the news without verifying at the local level, at the district level, what specifically are the needs. And so I'm glad that we had the engagement that we had so we can talk about the doors and we can talk about all those other things as we continue to move forward. And as you also said, that it's very important that we become more actively engaged. This is across the board. It's not just Community Board 11. I understand that it's true in other boards that we make sure that this become an integral part of our monthly process, so that we can get ahead of things, because oftentimes it's like, okay, we got to respond, you know, so let's respond. And then once we respond, you know, it's on them. Well, no, actually, it's still on us because we are the primary advocates at this level for our community, for our district. And lastly, in responding, sometime it may be a matter, a point of asking for clarification, especially we look at the responses at the expense level, which is usually programs, right? You know, some of the things that they're saying, well, yeah, okay, sounds good, but we can ask for clarity and or examples. So I'm looking forward to us as a committee delving deeper into this and having this as a line item of addressing it at some level of engagement ongoingly as we continue to move forward.
And again, it's become part of the agenda item as a standing agenda item. Angel, when do we need to have our responses to this to you? Because I know it's late right now. To dissect this at this moment. I know Jason, who couldn't be here, said some.
No, so it wasn't dissected tonight. It was dissected when I sent it to you. So tonight is when you have to tell me what it is you're thinking. Now, the full board is going to vote on the full response on Wednesday, but I need the feedback from the committees before then, so I can start writing this thing. So if you're not gonna, you know, give me something, you know, super concrete this evening, then as soon as possible after this meeting, like, you know, tomorrow would be great. Because I have to, you know, get everybody's responses and put them in and make sure I spell check it and all that good stuff.
Are there any suggestions right now that members have? And then we'll move to Mr. Clemens.
Would it be helpful to go item by item just to kind of spur little ideas or something?
I mean, I'm down, you know, I have no place to go. I'm home.
Oh, no. I wasn't saying spend 35 minutes per request. Just kind of clicking to see what kind of stirred a little bit of excitement. You know, I got home at 1 o'clock in the morning last night. Do you guys know what Tyler the Creator is? My son dragged me to that thing. It's fantastic, but I'm too old for that. I'm exhausted. I am exhausted.
I turned 60 last Tuesday. I still got you beat by a few.
I know, it was fantastic, but oh boy.
What is Tyler the Creator?
This is a rapper, R&B artist. He's really good. I was dreading it, but it was good. It was good. I gotta give it up to him.
I go to a music high school, so it's just blasting in the hallways.
Yeah. It was good to see my son with his tribe too. That was pretty cool. Anywho, all right. enough with my tangent. Stop me when you want, David. So the first item is capital request, priority number 5. The item was funded. Second item is capital number 8, also funded. So on line number,
you're right, Angel, because last year we almost batted 0.
Yeah, you're doing good so far. Yeah. So on line 5, capital 15, unable to prioritize funding for this project request at this time. And the further explanation is the funding cannot give priority to this funding request. I think this is the wiring thing that we've been asking for a couple of years. To Rev's point earlier about asking for that clarification. So, and I'm so glad that Rev, phrased it the way she did. And also earlier, Dr. De La Cruz phrased it. So this is a constant thing that you have to be advocating for. So it's in here, it's in the response, it's in conversations, it's every month, it's, so it's just, you kind of keep ticking away until you get somewhere. This is a big ask and rightfully so, but we're going to keep getting this pushback until like a big, pot of money comes in. And until that pot of money is, like they prioritize taking funds from that pot of money to do this, right? Like they have a lot of money now and they're choosing to do all kinds of other foolishness.
Well, Angel, if I just may add, I think, this is again where it's really important that we advocate, because our community under COVID was hit hard with the lack of technology available to students. I mean, in the NYCHA projects, it's again, I mean, I would think more of it is we're asking for additional explanation as to why this cannot be funded. As we learn, the remote learning continues to be a part of school. And even in the new chancellor, he talked about having remote options for kids. Well, we can't have remote options. I'm sorry, this is what I should write up and send to you.
Yeah.
I got that one covered, Angel. I'll write up something.
All right, awesome. You got them all covered, man.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to be on the phone with you tomorrow.
All right, so just mind my scrolling. I'm just gonna bring the next one to the top. Here we go. So now we're moving to expense. So the first one is, for expense. Presently, this is a increase amount of after-school program seats for high school age children. This is a David special from years ago. Presently, there are a variety of agency-funded programs in the district for this target population. Additional programs are contingent upon available funding and will be distributed through an RFP process, request for proposal. Organizations are encouraged to apply. Agency agrees with this request, but funding decisions follow, follows a different budget process, RFP. So it isn't a direct fund, it's a per response to the RFP. Sorry, Dave.
Yeah, I mean, well, what are those programs that are being offered and whether ones have been extended? So I think we need more clarification on, in the past, they always said, we're expanding SYEP. Well, yeah, we've expanded that, but that's not the program we're talking about in context. I got that one too for you.
Yeah, we need to, besides this response at this time on this one, invite the YCD in to have a non-budget, budget-related conversation to get at, what are these RFPs specifically you're talking about, and see if that actually, is the appropriate response or if there's more that we can do.
So maybe we indicate in the Angel that
there's that dude that we know from the YCD, I forget his name.
Yeah,
Alexander.
Yeah. Okay, and we can do that now. I know we normally do it during the summer. Okay.
Yeah, and he's pretty accessible.
Yeah. And we could do Zoom, right? So that it's easier to get on as we've done.
So the next one is expense number. I'm sorry, Rev, you have a hand up?
No, yes, yeah, my hand is up, but that's why it's important. I think just becoming a little more knowledgeable about the process and the cycle is that we also have district agency consultations, if you will, so we can get an idea on where they are and we can better able to pitch, if you will, or advocate the things that we need. Because many of these things, many of those in the expense item area are programs, right? And those programs are usually provided by other entities. That's why it says it usually go through an RFP. So organization will need to apply for that. It's usually not something that the agency itself funds, but it's usually funds it through an entity that has been selected to provide the services. So on that note, it might be good to take inventory of who the service providers are in the community, in the district, as it relates to some of the items, and find out what their needs and go back at it from the service providers' viewpoint, almost like Children's Aid Society.
But that's a good point, because actually, as Angel mentioned, the gentleman we meet with, he usually comes with a list of all the programs in the community. And I think, again, this is, as I've learned now, we've done this process to this extent, is that it's a play on words all the time on how they respond when we don't get those answers that are clear cut, right? Because it was only very recently we learned within DOE, there's so many different divisions, and we can't go to school safety, school construction authority for technology. They have a different department, so we learn more each time. Yeah, so yeah, he comes too, so. And one thing I'll also add, Rev, and I apologize for this, when we've had these meetings, we've never included vice chairs, or I never have. We should include the vice chairs, right, Angel? Was it just we did it with just the chairs, and I don't know what happened.
Yeah, we should just do it with the chairs. Yeah, but this should make sense because now the budget committee is made up of all vice chairs, so that absolutely.
Right. Well, there's a new sheriff in town. We're going to change some things.
Let's go, Rev.
Yeah, so you can write the responses.
You can't abdicate that one. That's yours.
Yeah, okay, thanks, Rev.
All right, we'll keep moving. 18 expense responses, approval of this request depends on sufficient federal funds. This is what the other committees were getting. But then in the further description, they say that this was already funded. And they refer to the Train and Earn program, formerly Out of School Youth, funded by the feds. Funding has been steady for recent years, but funding can only increase when the federal government increases its appropriation.
Did they just not send us all the stimulus money to go towards schools? See, again, where's that money? I think it raises another question. Where's all the money going that they got? And the fast student funding, where is it really going? But now they're going to cut $1 billion. But let's keep moving.
Okay, so 21E, this request has already been funded. I'll just push through. Stop me. Okay, just a few more.
Wait, question for that one. But didn't David just say, this says till 5 p.m. They need those hours till 6. Can that be changed?
Not in the budget request. You could change it in the fall when the new requests come in, but you can certainly mention in the response now. You can make a point now, like plant the seed for it in the response now.
Right, and then what we include is the resolution we passed as a relation to why we support this, right? Because
thank you.
That's the other pieces that we should always send, all those other supporting pieces. And not that we always have to make the resolutions, there can be other ones in the community. Sorry.
27 expense. ACS currently offers services for youth and families. Please contact Office of Intergovernmental Affairs for additional information. This was a request for funding to be allocated to enhance services that both prevent youth violence and provide creative alternatives to incarceration. That
can you scroll it up, because that's not showing on the screen.
It's not showing on your screen?
No, the last, unless I'm reading the wrong thing there.
So we're on, if you look on the spreadsheet, I was just reading line 11. It's request 27.
They refer
like I highlighted the box. See there? See it?
All right. Yeah. Now I got lost.
That's okay. We found it.
Thank you.
All right. All right. So this one we're inviting to, right? ACS. Have we had ACS?
I also, Angel, I think we should also invite the DA's office to that particular thing, because I think that's some of
this one.
Yeah, because like the Hub grant that addresses the issues of violence in the community, SAVE and all those other organizations, that's another piece that I think we tied that more into than necessarily ACS.
Yeah.
You know,
They were just,
that would-
the DA's office was just at public safety. They're looking to be really engaged, so that we should jump on that. So it's okay.
Right, so that would be part of us too, I think, because again, you know,
Yeah.
Lance is gone, right? But he put a lot of money into preventive work around youth and keeping them out of jail, right? And creating these 6 hubs throughout the city. And we have one of those hub programs here with Union Settlement. So.
Okey-dokey. Now we are on line 12, request 28E. We're asking to expand the work, learn, and grow to provide more opportunities for employment,
Okay.
expand
I
career
would
and
say-
college readiness.
Wait,
Let me
No.
finish before you interrupt me.
No.
College readiness for high schoolers. That is a demonstration of 2 bulls clashing horns. Go ahead, Mr. Giordano.
I'm a fish. I'm serious. You know, this is interesting. I mean, SYEP went up to, I think, 100 and something thousand this year. I mean, it's increased the numbers. But we were more specific around the work, learn, and grow because that's the program during the school year. And at this moment, the work, learn, and grow has already ended now. So those students that had opportunities to work are no longer, yes. See, Natasha is over there crying because Natasha's not getting paid anymore after last week because the work, learn, and grow end. So we should, Angel, I'm going to be working tomorrow for you. In the
Not for
morning.
me.
Well, you know what I mean, to make you look good.
Yeah, there's no helping me. This is all for you guys.
Yes, this is why we both miss Carly, but you miss her more than I.
I'm good. I'm good. It's your guys' work.
Okay.
This stuff is well done, and the board looks good. Not about me. Line 13, request 41. Which response is
we should put that in.
Variety of agency funded
Follow
programs in the district for this target population. Additional programs are contingent upon available funding and will be distributed through an RFP. Again, RFP. Agency agrees, but funding decision follows a different process, similar to above. So this is again with the DYSCD. I'll copy that. Sorry for the scrolling.
I mean, you know, in the comments, I'll write something, just again, the impact of COVID and the need for funding around remote learning. It's.
All right, and then the last one is on line 14, request 42E. Funding should be allocated for more mental health and social workers in East Harlem schools. They say that this request has already been funded.
Please identify the schools that have received these additional services. I know it's
a note to me or you?
additional help, but it's not like you have a social worker in a school, you have somebody there part-time who goes to other schools. So we want to know which schools received this. Please identify or provide the names of schools. And how many, right? No?
Yeah. But when it tells the school that we'll have a number from there. Okay. I'm good.
Okay, so I'll look over some additional comments and send them to you in the morning, late morning.
Thank you, sir. Stop sharing this.
Thank you, Angel.
Thank you.
I have to commend the board office and under Angel's leadership, how this process has really become a standard of looking at what are our needs in the community and how we best document them, address them, and then the next part is we need to do more advocacy around those issues and testimony and those things. But Angel, as always, thank you for a professional job. You make it easier for us, and I appreciate that much.
You're welcome.
It's been a long meeting. We do try to get out within an earlier time, but again, I thank everybody. Are there any last thoughts, processes, concerns? Angela.
So I just want to say that, David, you should receive the invitation to me, but I can send the letter with the invitation for the East Harlem Community Partnerships monthly meeting. Mark Levine will be presenting at our next meeting. And in tribute to Women's Month, we have a little performing art that's going to take place, which our very own Natasha will be performing.
How come I don't know about this?
Ah.
I forgot to tell you, sorry.
Have me today. So we'll move on. I'll see you tomorrow.
And the date for the meeting, it's 3 o'clock on March 30th on Zoom. So now I let you all know so we can all support Natasha at the meeting. Thank you.
Okay, and we have one more hand raised. Clemens, I know we didn't circle back, but we're circling back.
Egypt Air, question mark. Oh, you fly into Cairo.
Oh, somebody else speaking? Oh,
No.
Yeah. I just had like a quick suggestion. I just like for the discourse for the on education that the committee is going to be talking about for this year. I just wanted to suggest that, you can look at sentences through the kinds of properties they have. Like, could you prove a sentence is false? What are the implications for you if you accept a sentence as meaningful? What other sentences are you expected to accept if you accept the sentence? We have a new mayor and we have a new chancellor, and obviously they have a lot to say. And yes, you can judge what they're saying by the facts, but you also can explore what they have to say through the kinds of properties that their sentences can prove that they have, like whether they're empirical, stuff like that. And if you do that, then you can kind of map who's worth talking to and who's not worth talking to. And, you can kind of focus your advocacy where it will be the most helpful, because like what we just went through, like doing this report and stuff like that, that's really cool. But, it's going to be really difficult if, you're doing all this sort of stuff for a group, for a person or an entity who like really doesn't really see education the way you do, but you don't know that because like they haven't really told you how they see education, or you can't really tell whether their sentences are sentences you should take seriously on an issue. So there's a resource I made available for that you can use to test sentences for different kinds of properties. I sent it out already, but yeah, I just kind of hope to encourage the committee to kind of think in that direction. And I'm going to try and encourage you to think that direction for the whole year. And I just wanted to make that comment. Thank you. Have a great night, everybody.
Thank you for your comments. Without further ado, can we get a motion to adjourn?
Motion.
Natasha raised the hand. That's the motion. Okay. So we have a first and a second. First by Yolanda, second by Natasha. Angel, do the roll and send us home. Or rather, let's send you home.
Oh, wait, quick question before Angel does the roll. The full board meeting next week is still remote, right?
Yes.
Okay.
And you said it was Wednesday, Angel, not Tuesday?
No, Tuesday the 22nd.
Okay. I thought I heard a Wednesday because it's like.
Maybe I might have misspoken. I'm sorry, but Tuesday the 22nd. You guys will be voting on new ADM, so please make sure we have quorum. Maybe I'll throw some hair back. Leroy Andino is not here. Yolanda Brown.
Present.
Angela Donadell.
Present.
David Giordano.
Present.
John Green.
Out.
Robert Harvey. Jada Heredia. Not here. Pat Martin.
Here.
Natasha Rodriguez.
Still here.
Isaac Scott.
Here.
Russell Schuler.
Present.
You have quorum.
Thank you all. See you in a few days. See you tomorrow. See you next month. But I'll see you all again.
Reverend Brown.
I'll be in contact.
Happy belated.
Oh, thank you.